Hello. How are you? Hope you're well. I haven't been on for a little while. I've been a little bit busy and doing this and that and stuff. So this week I'm doing a video on another urban legend video. So it's random urban legends, and I hope you enjoy it. I'll stop waffling and I'll see you in a minute. Enjoy. Calls from beyond. A middle-aged man was on a train to Los Angeles, on his way to a job interview. He'd recently become engaged and he hoped that the job would allow the pair to marry. At 4:30 p.m, the vehicle collided at 85 miles per hour with a freight train running in the opposite direction, in one of the worst accidents in America's history. His fiancée heard about the crash while driving to the train station with the man's parents and his siblings. Several of his loved ones received calls from the man's mobile phone, so they naturally assumed that he had been a survivor of the accident, even though all they could hear when they picked up was static. Although their subsequent calls to him went straight to voicemail, all through the night they waited for confirmation that he had been found alive and well. 12 hours after the accident, having tracked the signal from his mobile phone, rescuers finally located him in the wreckage. He died almost instantly in the crash. Yet 35 calls had been made from his phone, only to his nearest and dearest, as if the mobile had been reaching out to help lead them to his body. Benjamin's house. At the turn of the 12th century, a wealthy family bought an old mansion in the southwest of England, high on the cliffs in a remote location overlooking the sea. They lived with their young child, a boy named Ben, and several servants. Stories would reach local villagers, who rarely saw the inhabitants of the house, that the owners were distant and cruel to their staff, who had little other choice than of employment in the area. About the religious lady of the house singled out one of the maids, a young cook, for particularly cruel treatment, claiming that the girl was evil and that she was corrupting the rest of the staff. The maid would often return late from her weekends off, and the other servants liked to gossip. They said that she was a harlot, a liar, and even a witch. She was a strong-minded girl, though, and instead of denying the rumours, she just played up to the stories that were told about her. When the boy's father found her performing strange rituals in the ground of the house, she was beaten and dismissed. But before she left, she offered a doll to the boy. He'd always liked her despite his parents' suspicions, as a peace offering. His parents were all for throwing it away, but the boy liked it. In fact, it became an instant favourite, and he even named it after himself, Benjamin. He dressed the doll in clothes to match his own and would never let it out of his sight. Or was it that he was never out of its sight? The boy would often talk to Benjamin in his room alone, even pretending to speak in its voice. His parents thought his behaviour was strange, but as he has no other friends to speak of, it kept him occupied. They let him be. Occasionally, the servants heard him arguing with the doll in his bedroom, and one morning they heard him sobbing uncontrollably from behind a locked door. They told his father, who found the little boy hiding under the bed, because he said that Benjamin couldn't see him there. The father was again ready to get rid of the doll, but the boy pleaded to let him keep it in the house. The rumour started among the servants that the boy was not talking for the doll was talking for itself. It became common to hear loud noises coming from the boy's room at night, and when the door was open, he would claim that Benjamin had done it. One of the maids reported being followed by the doll and spotted it at different upstairs windows, as if it was watching her work. It was said that the doll's face had a different expression depending on who it was looking at. Sometimes happy, sometimes sad, sometimes angry. The stories eventually caught the attention of a writer who was staying in the village. He decided to investigate. He was rebuffed by the owners, who denied all knowledge, but he persevered. He managed to talk to some of the staff, who told him that the doll had a distinct piercing laugh, which could be heard in the upper floors of the house, and was often spotted sitting in the different rooms of the house when the boy wasn't at home. One servant even claimed to have seen it running across the hall. Eventually, the boy grew up, but he never left the house, and he never left Benjamin. When he died many years later, the household wasted no time in banishing the toy to the attic, where it was sometimes glimpsed peering out of the windows. The doll remained in exile upstairs for many years, until the new house's owners moved in. They had a little girl one day, roaming in the attic. She discovered a well-worn doll with a sad look on its face. Soon, Benjamin was up to his old tricks. The girl reappeared. She appeared to be terrified of the doll, saying that it had attacked her, but she couldn't bear to be parted from it. On one occasion, her older brother beheaded Benjamin with scissors and left it on the floor as a cruel sibling prank, only to find the doll the next day in his bedroom, with its head reattached and smiling. Modern vampires. In Romania, land of the original Dracula, old habits die hard. Rumours of vampires rising from graves to prey on the living are still popular. In Transylvania in 2004, a group of villagers were worried about someone who'd been recently buried. They thought he was responsible for a series of recent attacks in the community and decided to revert to ancient techniques in order to stop the crime spree. They went to the cemetery to dig up the body, which they noticed looked a lot fresher than would be expected, and a stake was driven through the heart. Then the organ was cut from the torso and burned, according to tradition. No more attacks were reported. Vampire folklore has a long history in Romania, home as it was to the man who inspired Dracula, Vlad the Impaler, Prince of Wallachia in the 15th century. Vlad got his nickname because of his habit of impaling captured enemies on stakes. He carried out his practice with so many of his enemies that one visitor to the country described the mighty forest of corpses stuck on stakes that stunk to high heaven. When he complained to the prince, it said that the same visitor was impaled high up so that the smell of the others would not bother him. It's not just the Eastern Europe that stories of vampires cause people to take drastic action. In rural 19th century New England, an outbreak of tuberculosis took hold, killing many, and as the disease tended to kill several members of the same family, worried locals summarised that the dead were taking others down with them. In order to try to arrest the outbreak, they evoked the ancient rituals designed to stop vampires. In 1892, the Brown family of Exeter, Rhode Island, were hit by the disease. A young girl, Mercy, died, and her mother soon followed afterwards. As often happens with this disease, Mercy's brother also fell ill. The family felt that their only option was to exhume and examine the bodies. The father enlisted the help of the villagers for the job. They found that Mercy, who had died 2 months previously, looked suspiciously lifelike, and that her heart contained fresh blood. This was a sure sign that she was the vampire to blame for the deaths, so her heart was cut out and richly burned. The ashes were given to the brother on her brother on his sickbed, while others inhaled the smoke in the belief that it would protect them. Unsurprisingly though, neither method worked. Don't turn on the light. Student halls and residence are strange places. You never know who or what you might find in your room. You don't really know the people you're suddenly living with, but everybody wants to make friends. They're always inviting themselves around and there's no real privacy. One Friday night at a university in England, first year student Jenny was getting excited about a freshers event that was taking place that evening. She was trying to persuade Emily, her new roommate, to come along, but Emily didn't feel like partying. So eventually, Jenny left her there and went out to the party alone. Later that evening, she came back to the room to get something, leaving the light off so not to wake Emily, before returning to the event. When Jenny awoke late the next morning, she didn't remember much about getting home. As she rolled out of her bed, she saw that Emily was also appeared to be still asleep, which wasn't like her at all. Then she saw blood on the sheets. Emily was dead. Her throat had been cut. Above her, on the wall, and scrawled in blood, were the words, "Aren't you glad you didn't turn on the light? Eats like a pig." One day, a farmer from Oregon went to feed his pigs, just like he did every morning, but on this particular occasion, he never returned. When his family became concerned, they went to look for him at the farm, but there was nobody there. Then they looked in the enclosure where the man kept his beloved pigs, some of which tipped the scales at more than 300 kilos. Something in the muck caught their eye. It was a pair of dentures. When they looked more closely, they could see pieces of meat strewn about the pigsty, and they soon realised what had happened. The pigs had eaten their owner. Pigs might seem like characterful creatures that like to keep their humans happy. They're also known to eat anything that was put in front of them, happily crunching through bones without difficulty. So it's not a coincidence that gangsters and serial killers often talk about feeding their victims to pigs in movies. It's the farmer that found that to his cost. Investigators discovered that one of the sows had bitten the man on another occasion, after he accidentally trod on one of her piglets. But he had decided not to kill the offending animal. Was this a tragic accident or an act of revenge? It's possible that giant pigs knocked over the farmer and then decided he was pig food. Or he may have suffered a medical emergency. The truth will never be out there. There was not enough of him left to determine the cause of his death. The Abbey. Many years ago, a bus driver was working the night shift on a Sunday night in a British city. He was driving an empty double-decker bus on his usual route from the city out to the suburbs, when he saw something unusual. On his journey, he passed an old ruined abbey, home to the largest cemetery in the city, but there was never anyone at that bus stop, for there were no houses on that road. However, that night there was someone waiting for the bus, a grey-haired man standing as if to attention at the side of the road. The driver couldn't remember the last time he had picked somebody up at that stop. In fact, he initially drove past the man before noticing him in his mirrors. He sighed and reversed back to the stop to pick him up. The man was smiling, which struck the driver as really odd. He told him that he wished to go to the next stop, please, before climbing up the top deck without saying another word. Then the driver realised that the old gentleman hadn't bought a ticket, but he couldn't be bothered to go and stop and go upstairs, so the man could pay before he got off. The driver continued on his journey and completed the 20-minute stretch in a surprisingly quick time. He stopped and waited for the man to come down. When that didn't happen, he yelled that they'd reached the stop that he'd asked for. There was no reply and the man did not reappear. So the driver got out of his seat and peered up the top deck. He walked up the steps and saw there was nobody there. His passenger had disappeared. Was he imagining things? Then he heard the bus door open with a hiss. He looked back downstairs and saw that the smiling man was outside again, waiting at the bus stop. "What the?" the driver whispered to himself. He made as if to ask him what he was up to, but stopped when he saw the building behind the man. They were back at the Abbey. "Next stop, please," said the man as he got on the bus. So how was that? Hope you enjoyed it. As I've always saying about the urban legends, obviously nobody knows if they're true or whether they're just a myth or, an old wives' tale. Nobody's ever going to know. but they are good fun, aren't they? So I hope you enjoyed it. I've put a poll up on my YouTube page and a post, and I did a poll and I asked if people would like to see me do some more horror gaming videos. Now, I've decided, because of the poll results, I'll show you the poll results, they're here. Okay, so I've decided, because of the poll results and a fair few, more than 5, put it that way, people have said that they'd like to see me do some more horror gaming videos. So, my next video, I might do a horror gaming video. So I've got a couple of new horror games and I haven't played them yet, so they're new to me as well. I'm not going to put a video on so it's the whole game all the way through. It'll be probably parts of the video, just so I might mush them together and make one whole video. So who knows? Anyway, I'll see how I get on. But that will be next time. I'm also going to do some serial killer videos and some more sort of, what do you call them? Cryptids and stuff, because I found that the UFO video was really popular, more popular than I thought actually. So because of that, I'm going to do some more of those sort of videos too, so look out for that. In the meantime, I'm going to have my hands a little bit full, because I don't know if you know or not, but we're collecting a puppy on Sunday. Now, if you haven't seen my website blog post, then here is a photo of him, and he is beautiful, and his name is Wilson, and we're collecting him on Sunday, and we're really excited. He won't replace Cookie. Nobody could replace Cookie because she was the best girl ever, but he will help to heal our hearts and Chester his heart too, because he's very lonely and really missing her, so as we all are. So anyway, yeah, so I'm going to have hands full quite a bit really with the puppy, so I'm trying and do some videos now before we collect him, although I will be doing a video, and I'll probably have a video with me holding the little bundle of fluff, probably trying to bite everything in sight. But yeah, so bear with me. I'll do my very best that I can. And yeah, that's it. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. And I will see you again on the next one. Take care. Bye.